This time on Custom Works, we're working on the 60 truck, we're doing more mental stuff! Let's get to the workshop. Right, so this time doing some work on the 60s truck, mocking up that back window and the bit where the motorbike is going to fit into the back of the cab. But first, let's have a look at some of the other projects. Right, so the Mercedes SS project, still just a chassis with airbags on the front and that BMW engine in the middle. So we have to come some way, but this week we got one of the key components to this car, and of course it's the wheels. And oh my god, what a set of wheels. So these have got a 10-inch offset, which is just unreal. They stick out so much. Tyres from a Ferrari. You know, these are a one-off made custom wheel just for this car, and they are the coolest wheels I think I've ever seen. Just that much sort of offset, that much rim. Now when I look from here, it's like the wheel's not got a hub. It's just, they are absolutely amazing. And it makes the car wide. So this really is just so wide, it's going to sit so low. And these wheels are just so awesome. This thing coming down the road, it's, I think, if you're in the Batmobile and this pulled up behind you, you'd think, I bought the wrong car. It's just going to be so wide, so menacing. And these wheels really do, they set the tone for the project. And you know, they're high quality, beautiful and awesome, and that's what the whole car's going to be when it's finished. But wow, what a milestone. All we've got to do now is work out, these are a Jag Chevy stud pattern, and we want to bolt them up to this 6-stud sort of taxi stud pattern, which is the same as you'd have on a Iveco lorry or truck. But Dave Lay's on that, the master machinist, and he's going to make us some adapters so that those wheels bolt onto there. Because if you are basing a hot rod on a taxi, there's no options of wheels unless you want Iveco lorry wheels on it, which just look the same as the taxi wheels, funnily enough. But we'll be making that those adapters, and we're going to make them so we can make them again. So if you're making a taxi project, we can provide you with 6-stud down to 5-stud Jag Chevy, really easy. And we're hoping we're going to get them all in. We're going to get that whole adapter in about 1 inch of space, so we don't have to go any wider. They're going to be super compact. So that is a Mercedes SS. Let's take a look at the Meat Wagon. Right, and so the Meat Wagon. The Meat Wagon has just been insane over the past few weeks. We've been buying all the stuff to go inside, and we've been putting all the plumbing, wiring, and all the auxiliaries you need to make a burger van work. And my God, there's a lot of other things you've got to think about. We've got wiring hanging everywhere, but we've got a lot of wiring in. We've got drains so that you can't overfill the water tank in there. We've also mounted in now the gas tank, which is fully fitted up. We just need some piping for that, so you can just fill it at the fuel station, so you don't have to ever take it in or out. A lot's been going on. Also, we've had a bit of trouble with the brakes on this. Both front calipers we've had fully refurbished and replaced. We've placed the brake lines up to them just here. So we fitted new lines, had the calipers redone. We've put new pads, springs and clips in the caliper. and that's all good. Although at the rear, we were trying to bleed these up today, and we've had problems at the rear as well. So we're going to replace cylinders in both drums. It's had new shoes at some point, but we're going to replace the cylinders both sides, and we're going to replace the hard lines up to there. Because don't forget, I know it's only a 1997 car, but you know, it's a rusty old car. You know, we've got to check over all this stuff. But there's those bits to do. And of course, we're waiting for this amazing coffee machine that inside is going to sit in this sort of moving drawer thing. But anyway, that's all the projects, and they're all coming on pretty good. Okay, so back on the 60s truck, we've got rid of the back window, we've put a piece of dye bond in, and we've got a couple of layers of fiberglass over that. So that's pretty tough. We're going to be fiberglassing onto that, so we don't need it to be mega strong. And I want to make like a flange that sort of moulds the bike to the car. So I don't know, I don't want it to look like it's all one thing, but I do want something more than just a hole in the back of the cab. So I've been putting these bits on, and this bit will have a nice scoop that will follow down into the sort of like the pickup bed area. Follows this nice line for the release handle, which of course is a moving and attached to the moving sled. And then we need something to go over the top here, and that bit over the top is what I'm going to make. I'm thinking some dye bond, bend it over, glue it on there, just glue it all up, and we should have the starts of the back of the cab. So we've got all this bit on. So we've got this that like swoops round and then comes under in a nice soft curve. It follows the line of this release handle, and then we've got this curve over. And then on the other side, and on this side, we've come over, and then because we've got that asymmetric thing, I think I'll do both sides right, and I can't because the bike's asymmetric as well. But we've come round here, same taper to the bottom again, and this same curve, which will bring in to this curve that will form like the, if you imagine the pickup bed. So what there is to do now is, this is just super glued and stuff. So I'm going to add some more dye bond here and here. Try and get this a bit more rigid. Try and get this curve more sort of dialed in, so it's got a big lump in the middle at the minute. Just get it more rigid before we go on with some filler, just to make it super strong. And then we can start to blend all this into the back of the cab. Also, what we've got to think about in this, we're putting the window just here. So the window is going to come down, up, into the roof, round and back down. That's going to be awesome, and I've got to start thinking about piecing that together. So what I'll probably do is cut some strips of dye bond, start sticking them on, because of course I'll do this, I'll make sure it's strong, I'll glass it, I'll finish it, and then I'll cut the piece of roof out. I don't want anything flopping or flexing in the meantime. I want there to be a solid framework to hold the shape, and then cut out after. So, all to play for, all to stay for. Let's get to making stuff. Right, so here at Custom Works, we're not sponsored by anyone or anything. No one gives us nothing. But when a good bit of kit comes up, I feel it's sort of my duty to tell you about it. And this morning, I took delivery of this, is it Merca? Anyway, sander. There it is. And this is electric. This is an air sander. I've had a 3M air sander for about the past year or so, and that is good. But sometimes, because I sand so much, and I always sand at 40 grit, so there's maximum drag on it, I find the air sander does get a bit slow after a long time. This thing, well, it's just incredible. It weighs no more than the air sander. Fits in your palm like the air sander, but it's got never fade grunt of 240 electric. Absolutely amazing piece of kit. And a piece of kit like this really does make your life easier. When you're sanding, think of everything as quick as you can. Like, I can sand probably twice as quick with this, so I'll earn twice as much while I'm sanding. It's just as simple as that. Also, pads and stuff. I've got some really good pads coming that I'll tell you about probably next week, with like ceramic in them, so you know you've got to change less pads. All of this stuff, if you're going to do this sort of building an entire body, you need really good sanders, because no one likes sanding, not even me, and the quicker it goes, the better it is. On all of this bit, and to get the bends, I have also realised that with Dibond, these come with like a sticker on both sides, and I do take the sticker off, but I always rough it up just so that the fiberglass will stick to it. But I've realised if you take the sticker off, it doesn't bend as good. This stuff snaps really easy, and sometimes even just sanding the surface, I think can put like a microfracture in the surface that will split the whole thing. But because I'm trying to get some curve into this, I've left the stickers on. It just seems to hold it together as an extra layer of lamination, but you've got to rough it up, else the glass will just never stick to it. And that's where my new sander comes in. Yeah, right. I'm going to cut this into a strip because we need to make a bit more bracing to make that a bit stronger than it did front letter. I think you know how all this is going to go, so let's get back to it. So what I'm doing here, I've cut this Dibond down into this strip, and of course this curve goes this way and this way, as every curve should on a car. And what I'm doing, I'm just fattening up this front edge, and I'll fiberglass back to this. And what I'll do, I'll come in, sweep up to this at the apex of the curve, and then I'll be coming back out to here to meet up with that, just so that doesn't look like, you know, like it's made of really thin, cheap stuff. I want it to look fat, I want it to look solid at the back, like it's, you know, sort of made of like monolithic material, all in one. So I'm going to fatten up all this right round there, all down the other side, and then we'll start backfilling with some filler to make this a bit stronger, and then some fiberglass. But before that, I'm going to do that window as well. Right, so all this now, it's super glued on, and I've just daubed some Bondo around it, so it's a little bit sort of stronger. Just while I'm working on it, you know, there's probably going to be some trimming and stuff, and I don't know, while I'm doing the other work, I need it to be quite good. But now, it's time to leave this for a minute and take a look at this window and see what we're going to do with the back window on this truck, because my God, This really is, you know, we're through the looking glass here, people. This is going to get really crazy. So what I'm doing here is I'm using a laser line to mark on the back, and I don't know if you can see, this is probably, the camera's not good enough quality to pick it up, but I'm making it parallel off this line on the body, and then bring it over to somewhere where there's not too much curve in the roof, and I think I'm going to get it in a single plane curve. Right, so on the other side, around the window, I've put a load of glass fibre, but just like the P40 stuff that you mix up, so it's not super strong yet, but it will be. On this side, we'll be fiberglass in this end, so this is probably strong enough, but now what I need to do is build up an amount of foam so that this all flares into the body. So I'm going to do that with some foam, put it on nice and slowly, and we should be able to get close to that with foam, but then sculpt it to shape tomorrow. So that is all on now, and we've got all this foam here ready to be sculpted. I'm probably going to have to add more foam to this because I don't think I've got quite enough foam there to make a nice gentle transition into the back of the pickup. And also over there, the shape over there, I don't know what it's going to come out like, and a lot of the time just laying on the foam in layers sort of guide you towards what the shape needs to be and should be. I always use a gun. So you use the gun grade foam. I always have the gun turned right down. So it's almost like a 3D printer in your hand. But yeah, getting that on, get it on to nearly the shape, and then I'll let it dry so it's really dry, and I'll sculpt it with the angle grinder and the sander, and that will give me this, nice lazy curve into the body of the car, as if it's sort of, like sucking the bike in. I don't know. But that's where we're at the minute. I'm going to leave this overnight, I'll put some more foam on it tomorrow, build it up some more, and that's it. Yes, you've got to use your imagination a bit on this, but in future episodes you'll see all this become smooth and fiberglassed and like a car rather than a cake, a brain cake. Okay, so a little bit of like a technical point on the channel. First off, thanks for sticking with us through this couple of weeks where we've used phones, a rubbish camera, and now we have a camera. I've just got to read the instructions and charge it up. But next week, we'll be back in way better quality. But thank you all so much for carrying on viewing, and no one's complained, so thank you. Okay, so once again, we reached the end of the programme, and it's been a tough week. And the camera thing, again, thanks for all staying with us through these dodgy camera times. It's going to be a week that's going to happen between now and next Saturday, and I'm going to be doing more mad things. So, see you all next week. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget, do the like, leave a comment, blah, 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 and all of that sort of stuff. Thank you very much. And good night!